What happens when one of the biggest stars in entertainment sits down for what should be a routine interview, only to face the most hostile questioning of her career? What unfolds when years of simmering resentment erupt into an on-air confrontation so intense that security has to intervene? Today we're breaking down that shocking moment. Jennifer Lopez arrived at The View, expecting a standard promotional interview for her latest project, but instead walked straight into an ambush that left viewers stunned and had the entertainment world buzzing for weeks. Make sure to subscribe and comment below, because this story gets wilder than you could ever imagine. The morning started like any other at The View studios in New York. Jennifer appeared in her signature style, a cream-colored blazer that likely cost more than most people make in a month, hair swept back in effortless perfection. Production assistants flitted around her, adjusting microphones, offering water, everything to ensure the stage was set for what everyone assumed would be a light, promotional conversation. Behar sat at the table, shuffling her notes with that mischievous smile that hinted at trouble. Whoopi Goldberg reviewed her opening remarks, glancing occasionally at Joy, sensing something might be brewing. Sarah Haynes chatted warmly with the crew. Sunny Host quietly organized her talking points with precision, and Alyssa Farah Griffin appeared slightly anxious, as she often did when major celebrities were in the studio. The show opened with its usual fanfare. Jennifer walked out, flashing her million-dollar smile, waving to the audience, completely unaware that this would become one of the most explosive television moments in recent memory. She settled next to Whoopi, legs crossed elegantly, ready for what she thought would be 20 minutes of friendly conversation about music, business ventures, and maybe a few personal questions. Jennifer, welcome back to The View, Whoopi began warmly. It's been too long. Thank you so much for having me. Always a pleasure to be here with you, ladies, Jennifer replied smoothly, rehearsed, confident, an artist who had danced this dance countless times before. Sarah Haynes jumped in cheerfully, complimenting Jennifer's new album and asking about the inspiration behind her songs. Jennifer leaned forward, eyes lighting up, sharing her creative process and the personal meaning behind her music. The first few minutes flowed naturally. Sunny asked about business projects, Alyssa about tour dates. The audience laughed at Jennifer's jokes and applauded stories about her children inspiring her work. Then Behar cleared her throat. The energy shifted. Jennifer noticed immediately, a subtle tension familiar to any experienced performer. Joy, unusually quiet until now, smiled that signature smirk. Jennifer, she began, her tone sharper than casual conversation, I have to ask you about something that's been bothering me for some time. Jennifer tilted her head politely. Of course, Joy, what would you like to know? Well, Joy continued, leaning back, I've followed your career for years and noticed a pattern that needs addressing. The panelists exchanged nervous glances. Whoopi raised an eyebrow. Sarah looked uncomfortable. Sunny leaned forward, sensing the conversation was about to explode. What kind of pattern? Jennifer asked, her media training kicking in, voice steady, but internally bracing for impact. Joy shuffled her notes theatrically. Throughout your career, you've often borrowed inspiration from other artists. Your music, dance moves, fashion, even business ideas. Don't you think it's time to acknowledge that maybe you're not as original as you like people to believe? The statement hung in the air like a live wire. The audience went silent. Jennifer's smile faltered for a heartbeat before regaining composure, but the flash of anger was unmistakable. I'm not sure I understand what you're implying, Jennifer said, controlled but sharp. Every artist draws from those who came before. That's how music evolves, how culture grows. Oh, I think you understand perfectly, Joy shot back. Let's talk about your early music career. How many times have critics noted the similarities in your songs to earlier tracks? Choreographers complaining you used their routines as your own? Stylists and designers whose ideas went uncredited? Tension at the table skyrocketed. Sarah fidgeted. Sunny analyzed every word for legal implications. Alyssa wished she could disappear. Whoopi glared at Joy, furious that a routine interview had become an ambush. Joy, this is inappropriate, Jennifer finally snapped. Her polished facade cracked. You invited me to talk about my album, not to launch a personal attack based on gossip and speculation. Personal attack? Joy said, eyes glinting. No, this is journalism, pointing out decades of avoiding the hard questions while surrounding yourself with yes men. Jennifer's voice rose, Bronx accent sharpening. The truth is, you're trying to tear down a successful woman for television ratings. The truth is, you built your career on being divisive, and today I'm your target. Joy leaned forward, clearly relishing Jennifer's visible frustration. Oh, so now I'm the problem? Not the person who built a brand on borrowed creativity, but the one pointing it out? Joy, that's enough, Whoopi interjected, authority ringing in her voice. This is not what we agreed to discuss today. But Joy would not back down. With all due respect, Whoopi, this is exactly the conversation we should be having. When did this show stop being journalism and start being cheerleading? Jennifer struggled to maintain composure, the tension palpable. Her face flushed with anger and embarrassment. The audience could feel the raw emotion radiating from her, many shifting uneasily in their seats. This was not the light-hearted entertainment they had expected when they came to watch a taping of The View. Joy, you want to talk about courage? Let's talk about courage, Jennifer said, her voice trembling with barely controlled fury. It takes courage to put yourself out there as an artist, to risk failure with every new release. It takes courage to work in an industry that constantly tries to tear women down, especially women of color. What you are doing right now is not courage, it is cowardice. Hiding behind your position at this table to launch personal attacks you would never have the guts to make face-to-face, that's cowardice. The word struck Joy like a slap. Her expression hardened. Any pretense of journalistic objectivity vanished. Cowardice, Jennifer continued, her voice sharp. You want to see cowardice, Joy? Cowardice is building a career on other people's work, and then playing the victim when someone calls you out. Cowardice is using your celebrity to dodge accountability for decades. Sarah Haynes, who had been trying to stay out of the escalating tension, finally spoke. Ladies, maybe we need to step back. Jennifer, you're an incredibly talented performer who has brought joy to millions. Joy, I understand your concerns, but perhaps there's a more constructive way to address them. Stay out of this, Sarah, Joy snapped, redirecting her fury at her colleague. This is bigger than politeness, Jennifer shot back, her protective instincts flaring. She's trying to be reasonable. More than I can say for you. Integrity, Joy? Where was yours when you blindsided a guest with accusations and conspiracy theories? Sunny host, watching with the trained eye of someone versed in conflict resolution, decided to intervene. Joy, I need to point out that your actions could be considered defamatory. You're making serious claims about Jennifer's character and business practices without concrete evidence. Joy laughed bitterly. Everything I'm saying is based on years of reports, interviews with collaborators, and documented instances of questionable practices. This isn't defamation, it's overdue accountability. Then show the documentation, Sunny pressed. If you have evidence, present it. If you're relying on rumors, you need to acknowledge that. Jennifer seized on Sunny's support. Thank you, Sunny. Joy has spent the last 10 minutes making wild accusations with no proof. This is character assassination disguised as journalism. Joy's face grew redder. She hadn't anticipated such pushback. She likely expected silence or agreement. Instead, she found herself isolated. You want evidence? Joy's voice rang out across the studio. 3 of your biggest hits from the early 2000s were originally recorded by other artists who never received credit. Your most famous dance routine was created by a choreographer who later sued you. Your fashion line closely mirrored small designers' earlier collections. Jennifer paused, momentarily caught off guard. These were specific claims, clearly researched. Her eyes narrowed. This ambush was planned. Those lawsuits were settled out of court with no admission of wrongdoing, she said, her earlier fire dimming slightly. If you had done proper research, you'd know they were dismissed or resolved with mutual agreements protecting all involved. Settled out of court? Joy mocked. Of course. That's what people do when they're guilty but want to hide it. How much have you paid over the years to keep others quiet about your creative borrowing? Alyssa Farah Griffin, silent until now, spoke. Joy, this is crossing a line. Even if you have concerns about industry practices, this isn't the place for aggressive interrogation. Jennifer is our guest. We owe her basic respect. Respect and courtesy? Joy snapped at Alyssa. Those are earned, not automatically granted because someone's famous. Jennifer built her brand on taking credit for other people's work. And now when someone calls her out, we're supposed to be polite? Jennifer watched in growing disbelief. Joy was no longer just attacking her. She had turned on her colleagues, exposing a bitterness that went far beyond professional critique. This is personal for Joy, Jennifer realized. Joy, what is this really about? Jennifer asked, her voice calm now. This feels bigger than creative integrity. Have I offended you personally? If so, tell me directly instead of hiding behind professional accusations. For a moment, Joy's mask slipped. Anger and pain twisted her features. This is about watching someone like you coast through life on other people's talent while reaping all the rewards. Watching you become a billionaire by repackaging others' creativity as your own. Jennifer's voice turned dangerously quiet. What exactly does that mean, Joy? What kind of person am I? The challenge hung in the air, every eye at the table holding its breath. Joy's voice, heavy with years of resentment, finally answered. You are everything that's wrong with this industry. Fake, manufactured, shameless, and taking credit for others' work. You represent everything I've spent my career fighting against. The words hit Jennifer like blows. Her face paled, then flushed with renewed fury. Slowly she rose, hands trembling with rage. Get up, Jennifer said, her quiet menace freezing everyone at the table. Stand up and say that to my face, Joy. If you have the courage to say it, have the courage to face me. Joy hesitated, weighing her options. The audience was silent, sensing something historic unfolding. Jennifer repeated louder and commanding, Stand up! You've spent 15 minutes attacking me from the safety of your chair. If you truly believe it, have the decency to face me while you say it. Reluctantly, Joy rose. Smaller than Jennifer and without the barrier of the table, the physical difference was stark. Her expression remained defiant, though her voice trembled. Fine, she said. I'm standing. Does that somehow make your career more legitimate? Jennifer asked, her voice sharp. Does standing up change the fact that you built your entire brand on borrowed creativity and manufactured authenticity? You want to talk about manufactured authenticity? She stepped closer, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper, more menacing than her earlier shouting. Let me tell you something about authenticity, Joy. Authentic people do not ambush guests on national television with personal attacks disguised as journalism. Authentic people do not spend decades hiding their bitterness behind a facade of professional curiosity. Whoopi stood now, moving between the two women with the calm authority of someone who had mediated countless conflicts. Ladies, this needs to stop. We are live on television. This has gone far beyond professional discourse. No, Whoopi, Jennifer interrupted, eyes locked on Joy. Let her finish. She clearly has more to say about my character. Let her. Let America see exactly what kind of person Joy Behar really is when the cameras are rolling, and she thinks she has the upper hand. Joy's face flushed with anger and embarrassment. She had underestimated Jennifer's defiance and now realized she'd miscalculated. But with millions watching, her pride refused to back down. You want to know what kind of person I am, Jennifer? She said, voice shaking. I am the kind of person who refuses to be intimidated by celebrities who think their fame makes them untouchable. I am the kind of person who believes truth matters more than politeness. Truth? Jennifer laughed coldly. You haven't spoken a word of truth since this started. Everything you've said is based on rumors, speculation, and your own issues with successful women. Sarah Haynes tried to regain control, her voice strained. Jennifer, Joy, please. We can discuss these issues without it becoming personal. We are professionals. We can have this conversation respectfully. There's no conversation here, Jennifer shot back, still glaring at Joy. This woman invited me onto this show under false pretenses to launch a personal attack unrelated to my music or career. This is not journalism. This is a hit job. Sunny, the host, intervened, her legal background evident. Joy, consider the legal implications. You are making serious accusations about Jennifer's character without evidence. Legal implications? Joy snapped, fury in her eyes. Are you threatening me now? We can't even have honest conversations about celebrity culture without lawyers getting involved. I'm not threatening anyone, Sunny replied calmly. I'm pointing out professional standards for interviews, especially when discussing someone's reputation. Alyssa nodded. I agree. This isn't an interview anymore. Jennifer came to promote her album and instead she's facing a character assassination. Isolated and cornered, Joy grew frantic. So now you're all ganging up on me. I'm the only one asking real questions. And instead of supporting journalism, you protect a celebrity built on lies. That's it, Jennifer said, her voice cutting through the chaos. I came here as a professional courtesy to promote my work and connect with fans. Instead, I've been ambushed by someone with personal issues unrelated to me or my career. She turned to leave, but Joy shouted, Run away! That's what you always do when someone calls you out on your lies. Jennifer froze, then turned, her face a mask of cold fury. Slowly, deliberately, she approached Joy, and everyone instinctively stepped back. "You made a mistake, Joy," she said quietly. "A very big mistake. You could have asked legitimate questions about my career, music, or business ventures. You could have done your job professionally. Instead, you attacked my character and integrity, and now you'll see why that was foolish." "Are you threatening me, Jennifer?" Joy stammered. "I'm not threatening you," Jennifer replied, stepping closer. "I'm promising you. Your ambush today will cost more than you imagined. You'll learn just how much power a woman like me has in this industry." The studio held its breath. Cameras rolled, audience members shifted nervously, and Whoopi made one last attempt to restore order. "Jennifer, Joy, this must stop. We'll take a commercial break, and when we return, we either have a professional conversation or end the interview." Jennifer didn't break eye contact. "I'm leaving. I'm never coming back with her at this table." Joy, realizing she'd pushed too far, tried one last time to justify herself. "Jennifer, just acknowledge that there might be some validity to my concerns." "You want me to acknowledge your lies?" Jennifer shouted. "Validate your jealousy and bitterness?" "Never." Security finally stepped in as tension peaked. Jennifer, trembling with rage and exhaustion, said to a guard, "Get me out of here before I do something I'll regret." Joy called after her, "This is exactly what I was talking about. You run away from accountability." Jennifer didn't look back. She walked off the set, head held high, leaving behind one of the most explosive confrontations in daytime television history, ensuring her relationship with Joy Behar, and possibly the show itself, was permanently fractured. The cameras continued rolling, capturing stunned silence from the remaining panelists as they tried to salvage what was left of their show.